Who might have the biggest impact in the UCLA-Nebraska game? And, hey, let's check out what UCLA is doing recently in the recruiting trails in a brief moment here on Locked On UCLA.
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to this edition of the Locked On UCLA podcast. I'm your host, Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer. Thanks for making this show your first listen each and every day. It's free wherever you get your podcast, and it's available on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for your support. And hey, check out your team every day. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And where we get started today is a huge matchup, UCLA versus the Nebraska Cornhuskers, right? The Huskers, the Bruins going to Lincoln for the first time since the mid-1950s, and the Bruins didn't even win then, so it's been well over 70 years since UCLA has been able to get a win in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's a huge game, certainly a trap game. Nebraska has the size capable to harass UCLA with their defense. They've won the last few games defensively, and maybe they have a similar vibe that's coming in to what New Mexico had, but a true road game, tens of thousands rocking with UCLA coming in a top 15 team. And this is giving me this could be New Mexico all over again with the size Nebraska can trot out there, especially on the perimeter, right? It's from top to bottom in this lineup that the quote-unquote the mayor, Fred Hoiberg, can trot out there. Anywhere from Badike, they've got multiple options up to Bryce Williams, who can go out there and ball with UCLA, all right? Even though Badike might not be their one or two, that just is the size, right? He can be on the starting lineup, he can be the bench. There are multiple options Nebraska can go to in order to give UCLA a bit of a funk, all right? Maybe Nebraska is going to have somebody come out and ball like Donovan Dent has and done like New Mexico against UCLA. But what I'm looking at here is who I think could step up, right? Now, this is not a guarantee. This is not a prediction. This is, hey, this guy is needing to pick me up. It might be obvious with where I'm leading here. It needs a good game and a veteran guard in the Mick Cronin system that can have a big impact in this game. Take a look at Dylan Andrews. Think about him, visualize him if you're listening. Maybe you're watching this. Close your eyes. Think about Dylan Andrews heading this game. He's averaging 8 points per game, all right? His big games so far have been against mostly mediocre competition, right? Dylan Andrews hasn't had the best of years. The biggest moment was his banked in three to beat Oregon practically at the buzzer, which was an accidental play because he slipped and then he made a play out of nowhere, which we've seen him do. But the three-point shots haven't seemingly fallen, although he is shooting 35%. He's 0 for his last 5 in the last couple of games. Against power competition, the last 3 games, he's 0 for 7. Dylan Andrews seems like he's due, all right? Between Gonzaga, North Carolina, and Arizona, he has combined for 6 points, 4 steals defensively. He's turned it over about 6 times. So he's got 6 turnovers, and then a total of 6 points in his last 3 games against top-tier competition, which includes Arizona, North Carolina, and Gonzaga, but doesn't include the Prairie View A&M game where he played well and scored 21 points and had 6 assists. So he's had a good game in there. But this is one of those moments where if Dylan Andrews doesn't play well, this could signify a moment of reckoning for Mick Cronin that he needs to maybe bench Dylan Andrews or just shift his role, because Dylan Andrews is going to have to play 20 minutes a game. He is a focal point for Mick Cronin's veteran leadership, been in the program a few years, seen what it's like to work his way from limited role to superstar to now playing with more talented players as a key member of a good UCLA team like this team is, undefeated in Big Ten play and ready to rock and roll as a top 15, arguable top 10 team in the country. Now, as Lazar has started to figure out his role in a new year, he's somewhat flourished in it, whether it's 5 minutes getting benched against Arizona in 3 minutes and nothing, or coming in and sparking a win with 10 points off the bench and leading the Bruins to a win over the Zags. Dylan Andrews hasn't quite found that role yet. His best game against some decent competition was against Washington. 12 points, didn't exactly have a lot of assists, and shot 5 of 12. So 12 points for 12 shots. There hasn't been a signature moment against anybody. Against New Mexico, he had 6 turnovers in 4 points. So you look at all these games against signature teams, the only time he scored double figures was against Oregon, where he had 10 points, still had 3 turnovers. So between some big games, he's had a total of 12 turnovers. And more than that, he has had 10 points in these 4 games, most notably 17 minutes against the Zags, no field goals made, no points, and not even a turnover and 1 assist. Right? So we've seen his points per game go down to 8. His production against the good teams has not been there. Now, the Dylan Andrews that was on fire, flaming it up at the end of the regular season in the 23-24 campaign, while we don't need a 20-piece, a 10-piece on 5 to 6 shots, or at least 5 or so assists. Now, it's become clear that Sky Clark, I believe, is a better ball handler. He is somebody who can probably run the offense and might need to switch roles with Dylan Andrews. Put him as the 2. Maybe that's kind of how it's played out. But Sky Clark and Dylan Andrews, right? Last year, Andrews was that point guard. And I think Clark fills that role a little bit better as a veteran point guard, newer to what Mick Cronin wants, than a veteran point guard. And then you move Andrews into that slashing, old school type of shooting guard. And I know everybody's claiming for Mac. I like Mac too, but Andrews has a way to fit into this roster. And what Cronin really wants is Andrews to be productive so that he doesn't have to put Mac in the starting lineup. Because then when you're bringing people off the bench and he doesn't like what Andrews is doing, that's a lot more minutes for Mac, forces him to play more. And at some point with all the travel, these guys have to play 20 minutes and give each other rest. They have to play better. When they go to Lincoln, then they come back to Westwood, and then they go to the East Coast, go to Maryland, they go to Rutgers in New Jersey. They come back. There's a lot of travel in these first couple of weeks for UCLA in just their first 4 games. And it's going to get worse. They're going to go east quite a few times. That's go to Illinois and Indiana. Go to Indiana, the state, 3 times in the final few weeks of the season. So for a minutes reason, you need Andrews to be available, right? Because you're not going to guarantee any of these guys are healthy. And against Nebraska, you want a veteran guy who can make his own shot. And if Andrews is turning it over 6 times, Mac sometimes has those tendencies, and against bigger bodies, I wonder, will he get the foul calls in Lincoln? Or do I look at Andrews as a guy that can create his own shot? Mac can get to the lane and make his shot in the paint, but Andrews has the better ability to do that from a little further out. Maybe not from 3, although there's times this season he's cashed in, including a banked-in game winner against Oregon. It's more the baseline runners, the good underneath passes. Can he be finding the right guy? Can he lob it to Amada for an assist? Can he kick it out? Can he play clean basketball and get 8 points in limited shots? He doesn't need to blow this game up. But if he's doing the good things defensively, Cronin likes the deflections and the hustle, makes the good, sound decisions on offense, and makes more than one of his last 11 shots, you combine the Arizona game, you go 3 for 15 in his last 3 games against top-tier power conference competition, then that's not going to cut it. And Cronin might have to make a move, or there's got to be a way to fix that. And I think this is a good chance for Andrews to have a coming-out party and make it happen against Nebraska. Because somebody's got to ball out and play well. Because if not, UCLA might be in for a lot of trouble. But we'll find out, though. We will certainly find out. As we tack next, another UCLA staff member update and another offer they threw out that could impact this year's transfer recruiting. Finally, an offensive skill player they offered. We'll talk about that next on Locked On UCLA. The NFL playoffs are here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a dub, with you loving betting on which players will score a touchdown and how many points each team will score. It's thrilling, all right? So go check out FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, now we're going second segment, UCLA recruiting, UCLA coaching staff changes. Again, this has been a lot of changes for Deshaun Foster on the coaching front. They just named a new special teams analyst who was with the program in 22. Now he's back with UCLA, the assistant special teams analyst, I should say. Then you've got Tersu Uha, if I'm saying his name correctly. He is the UCLA Senior Associate Director of Football Performance in January 2025, where he's just been with Colorado the last 2 seasons in the revival of sorts of that program, which was dormant, the revival in the Deion Sanders era. So he's gone with them. He has been around with Georgia when they won national championships, was a basketball member as a grad assistant with Texas Tech the year they made it, I believe, to the national championships. In 2019, he was working as a grad assistant. So around that time, that's when Chris Beard was still at the helm and close to it with Texas Tech, I believe, before everything went down with him. And he's been around, right? He's been with Georgia Tech. He's been with Texas Tech, worked at Tennessee State, it says as well, at Arkansas State. So he's been slowly making his way in these last few years, these last 4 or so years. He's been a part of some big time programs. Now, am I saying he's going to be an immediate impact? I don't know, but he's been around with the strength and conditioning, and one of the things was UCLA, the strong strength and conditioning program they had under Chip Kelly. That was many things we could say about Chip Kelly. Yada, yada, yada. The strength and conditioning was an elite part of the UCLA football program. And the Bruins fought hard under Deshaun Foster. So now we're seeing more guys coming in with the coaching staff. We're seeing more updates because do you want to be an assistant coach or an analyst at a lower tier school or build it up? And now Uha has been from Tennessee State to Texas Tech men's basketball and then helping at Georgia, helping at Colorado, and going from an assistant to a senior associate director of football performance. All right, so a little bit of an upgrade in title coming to UCLA. And he's been a part of successful programs and then from a dormant to a successful program that Colorado was. Because remember, they're horrible in 22 and really hyped in 23 and pretty solid in 24. We can't hate on Colorado's performance. Maybe not national championship good. Even though it got embarrassed in their last loss, they still made some performance in the Heisman Trophy winner. Think about football performance. Who do you think he probably worked with? Like a Travis Hunter who's going both ways. Now, I'm not saying anybody's been going both ways for UCLA, but if it talks about elite conditioning, he just saw what elite conditioning is to play both ways. Snap count, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to talk about how that applies to a Heisman Trophy victory. But, hey, you talk about elite conditioning. He saw one of the best players ever to do it both ways at Colorado the last couple of years. Whether it was battling back from injury to this year doing it towards a Heisman Trophy, I think that would be a good guy to have lead your program. And maybe that's how it led to UCLA becoming a contender for getting him the job. And just also another thing to look out, how much I remember talking about, UCLA keeping the staff together, the players together. That's kind of blown up this year in the portal. New guys coming onto the staff, although we've known who we want to retain. Ikaika Malloy, which has been the case so far as the defensive coordinator. And then, players that we wanted to stay and still had eligibility, they've been finding the way out, like J. Michael Sturdivant, Logan Loya. All right. And then TJ Harden, all of which, maybe I said that twice, they have many different options and they're all leaving UCLA on the offensive side of the football. Okay. Now, who are they looking at in the portal? Well, Kaedin Robinson, who's played the last couple of years with Joey Aguilar, App State, from North Carolina, redshirt senior, started his career in JUCO in 2020. So the NCAA ruling, the injunction, if you will, if you started your career in 2020, then at JUCO, you can use your last year. So how this is working for a Kaedin Robinson, a 6'2" redshirt senior receiver, played 26 games at App State and started his career at UCF at the D1 FBS level, was a 2022 All-Sun Belt honorable mention as a part of App State, and then in 2023 received recognition from the PFN and the league with honorable mention, 14 starts, and had 10 touchdown receptions to tie the Sun Belt lead. All right, 10 touchdown receptions. Had a total of 67 receptions, 905 yards in 2023. That's when App State was good. They were playing for a conference championship. That's when Aguilar was throwing it all around. Then in 2024, this year, 840 yards, 2 touchdowns, 53 receptions, all numbers that UCLA wishes they could have had with somebody these last 2 seasons. It was Logan Loya, and this year we wish it would have been Michael Sturdivant, could have been a Logan Loya, wished it could have been Rico Flores Jr. None of that has been the case with UCLA throwing the football. So if you're getting a gunslinging quarterback, hey, why not get his receiver that's put his name in the portal? He's got a lot of offers. He posted, hey, I got the offer from UCLA. Why not go get this kid as one of the feature potential players in the portal in terms of, hey, we want to move our roster, get a 1-year stopgap. They already got a former Arkansas receiver coming through in the portal. They've kind of been very light on the skill positions. They got the quarterback they wanted to truly compete for the starting job. Of course, I'm going to sit here and say, yes, he's going to be your starter, but he'll compete. He's most likely going to win it at this moment. And you bring somebody along with him who's put up big numbers last couple of years, 12 touchdowns combined these last 2 seasons, 14 over 3 years, with an extremely big number of 10 touchdowns in 2023. 10 touchdown grabs, averaging close to 13.5 yards per catch, 15 to 16 yards per catch this season, while in his 9 games that he played, almost 100 yards per game. Now, if UCLA has that type of elite threat as a wideout, I would love it. And he's already played the quarterback the last couple of years. I'm signing myself up for that. As a veteran receiver, I think UCLA would love to have that in a strong receiver room that, hey, already has chemistry with quarterback. I think that's only a good thing. Now, it's not a guarantee. These other schools are going to go throw the bag at him and say, hey, but maybe playing on the West Coast for 1 year, maybe put up some numbers in, the greater LA area, in addition to working with somebody he's already worked with, could factor into his decision. Now, it's not crystal balled from what I've seen. He posted he got an offer. He's also posted he's got quite a few other offers as well. UCLA is not going to compete with the NIL money that other teams could potentially throw at him, in my perspective. But if he just wants to play and keep it going for 1 more year, then there's already going to be a wide receiver 1. And I'd say it'd be this kid that's got a good rapport with the new UCLA incoming transfer QB in Joey Aguilar. Hey, maybe Joey could be like, hey, let's show this North Carolina kid some California love. All right? Maybe we'll see how that goes. So the App State receiver, Kaedin Robinson, that's been playing pretty good ball in the Sun Belt, I think that could work well. If not, who knows? But there's still more work to be done. They need a tight end, maybe another offensive lineman or 2, and definitely a skill player. This could be one of them. Certainly could be one of them. All right. Has Rocket Money helped you find any subscriptions you forgot about or you're paying for twice? What's definitely happened for me, I got a couple. I'm just like, what am I paying for with this? Why am I spending about $5 a month for like a couple years doing it? What am I doing right there? And then it's like, oh, Rocket Money can be like, oh yeah, you're paying for this. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. While you can cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and help lower your bills so you can grow your savings, putting it all together in one place. Subscriptions, spending habits, even the goals you want to hit financially this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users, and it's saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, which means each member close to $740 a year. Think of what you can use with all of that when you use all of the app's premium features. Again, cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here on Locked On UCLA. Hey, think about it. We're going to have a reaction to the UCLA game after the Nebraska game. We'll talk about it, get right to it. If there's any other news, we'll try to pounce on it as well and get rocking and rolling. All right. So get your hands up, Bruins fans. 8 clap time, baby. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA. UCLA. Fight, fight, fight. This has been Locked On UCLA. Like, comment, subscribe, download. Thanks for your support. And hey, remember, after the Nebraska game, we'll have a reaction show immediately after, as quickly as we can. Good, bad, indifferent, we will talk about. And hopefully the Bruins remain unbeaten in Big Ten play, and that will be a huge game for UCLA to win to get a quad one win on the road. And if there's more transfer news, we'll talk about it. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your happy new year, the beginning of the year. The next week, it seems like everything's going to get closer to more normalcy when we all get back together. Right. So this has been Locked On UCLA. Zach signing off. Go Bruins.